Hello fellow beaders. In this episode I am going to be showing you how to make this invisible bead crochet bangle or bracelet, and let's get on with the materials that we need. So I am using size 8 seed beads in 3 different colors, and the thread I am using is cotton thread. This is size 20, and the needle I am using is 1.3 mm steel crochet hook. Now let's move on to the pattern. What you see here is a pattern that I have downloaded from the internet. The number 6 represents the circumference of the rope. 23 represents the number of beads in one repeat. What you see down below are the arrangement of the beads and the number of beads of each color and how you have to load them. So I'm doing the same thing in English now, and you can see what you can see on the left is the number of beads that you have to load, like green 1, white 2, green 4, white 1, gold 1, and so on. So, and on the right you can see that I have loaded all the beads onto the thread in that order. So these 23 beads is called as one repetition, and we will have to string on several repetitions of this in order to make a bracelet. So let's get on with the calculations. Here I'll be explaining to you how many beads you have to load on, or what is the length of the beads that you have to load on to get a certain size of the rope. So this is size 8 seed beads. So this rule is for all kinds of beads, but my size is size 8. So the circumference of the rope, like I already told you, or as mentioned on the pattern, is 6 beads. And I'll see the circumference means the number of beads in each row. Like you see here, there are 6 in each row. So there will be 6 beads in each row. And then the bracelet or the bangle that I am going to make, I am going to be needing about 7 inches of the bead crochet rope to make a bracelet. To get 7 inches of rope, I will have to know how much beads I have to thread on first. So the calculation is like this. You will multiply the circumference, that is 6, multiplied by 7, that is the 7 inch that we need, and 6 times 7 is 42 inches. So the number of beads, or sorry, it's not the number, the length of the beads that you load on must be equal to 42 inches. See here, I have put on the beads in sets of 23, or the repetitions that I told you about. So each repetition is 23 beads. So I have loaded on, or I have threaded on several repetitions of 23 beads, and now I'm going to measure and show you what is the length of the beads that I have threaded on. Okay, so I have just placed markers for the beginning and the ending so that the beads do not move, and it will be easy for me to measure the length. And you can see the thread is still on the spool. And now let's measure how many inches of beads that I have threaded on. Okay, I'll take a measuring tape and start from one end. And measure all the beads that I have put on or loaded onto the thread. So I need 42 inches. So my 42 inch mark is here. And you see the 42 inch does not stop at a complete repetition. In order to make an invisible join, you should always stop putting on the beads after a complete repetition. Okay, say you see beads are stopped. The 42 inch mark stops here, but that is not the complete repetition. So what I will do is I will add the rest of the beads which form the repetition. So that is still here. Okay, so I may be adding a few more beads which will be the end of the repetition. See, this is one repetition, so I'll have to crochet at until the repetition ends. So irrespective of whether it is 42 inches or a few beads more than that. Okay, now here I am going to make a mark here to represent the last bead or the end of that repetition, which will be a little beads over 42 inches. And now I'm doing this because I have loaded on extra beads after this, because in case I need some more, I need to make sure that I have the beads already instead of trying to break the thread and add new thread. So wherever the repetition ends, I'm going to take a needle and thread with some contrasting color. I'm going to pass it through the last bead in that repetition and tie it off there. This is just a marker for me to know when to stop crocheting so that I can start joining them to make an invisible join bangle. Okay, so this is the last bead from where I have to stop crocheting. So I need not have to crochet the rest. But what I will do is, in case I need some more beads, and so what I will do is I will take one more set of repetition also and make another mark there. So same way I'm going to take a thread with a contrasting color and I'm going to make a mark in the place where the next repetition of bead ends. So this is my way of handling this, because I always feel safer to have more beads on my thread than have lesser, because I don't like to join thread in between. So you see here there are 2 marks on my on the beads that I have threaded. So now what we do is we have to begin to crochet, but because I'm going to be using an starter rope to begin crocheting, what I will need to do is, if you have seen my other videos, you would also know how to add a how to start a crochet rope with the help of a starter rope. So for that, what I will do is I will thread on the needle once again and take 6 beads of a completely different color from the pattern that we are making, and we'll thread on those 6 beads also, plus another bead which is the 7th bead of another completely different contrasting color here. So please do watch my other video where I will show in detail about using a starter rope and how to use a starter rope and how to detach it from the starter rope to get a clean finish. So this is the starter rope I am using today. It is a 6 bead starter rope, and this is the place where I have ended the rope. So I am just showing you the place where I have ended, and the tail thread, the thread that you have ended, is the white one. So you will have to remember the white thread belongs to the starter rope and the green thread belongs to your bangle that we are going to make now. Now here, keep the tail thread away from you. Insert your needle under these 2 loops from where we did the last crochet, and slip stitch your new thread like this. Just a slip stitch, you're not making a single crochet or any other stitch, you're just going to slip it inside, and now your working thread is the green thread that belongs to the bracelet that we are going to make. Okay, so the new thread has been attached now. Now we are beginning to make the slip stitches now. Bring down all the 6 beads that are for the first row of the rope and start making the bead crochet slip stitches. Again, for a more detailed video of how to make the starter ropes, how to use them and how to detach them from your work, or how to detach these two pieces after you work a certain length, I have separate videos in the same playlist. Please do watch them, because that is more in detail, and you will get a better understanding of what I am doing here. So I am making bead crochet slip stitches, and in the first row there will be 6 beads now. So we have completed one row. Now continuing making row after row without any joining in a spiral. You will be making slip stitches in a spiral. At the same time, make sure that the tail thread of the new and the old are not loose, and please hold them together like this. Hold it tightly like this. And in case you feel this is loose, you can even put a tape to hold it tightly like that, and the tape can later be removed then. Now continue making bead crochet slip stitches. As usual, there is no change here. You just keep on making the slip stitches in a spiral. And please, I'm reminding you once again, there are several videos related to using starter ropes, making starter ropes, detaching from the detaching the starter ropes, etc. I've made all different videos. It's in the same playlist, so please do watch them to get a better understanding, and it will be a slower version also, so you can see it clearly and understand better. So we continue making the crochet rope in a spiral like this. And you see, this is how it goes, and this is how your work will look after a few rows. Now after making a few rows, I am going to detach it from the starter row. So the first bead that you will be taking out is the colored bead, the single color bead that we had, and you will later remove all these other 6 beads like this. And this video is going to be a little fast, so I may not be explaining it in detail, but there is a separate video. The link I will provide it in the description box, so please follow that link to understand how to detach this new rope from the starter rope. It's a very easy method and a foolproof method, and you will get very good clean beginnings for any crochet row. And also it is the best method to use when you want to do invisible joining of the ropes. And this is the last bead that you have to take out. And when you do that, you see you have a good clean beginning for a crochet rope, and you can see there are 6 beads here. So clearly and neatly we have a very good clean beginning for the crochet rope. Now you can continue to crochet and make the length that you want, and stop at the 42-inch mark that we had earlier marked. So see here, I have almost completed everything. A few more beads remaining to complete the repeat of that ending. See, I want to show you again. See here, we wanted a 7-inch rope, okay? So, and we had put on 42 inches of beads, and this is what I have got now. So at the end of using all the 42 inches of beads, and at the end of the repeat, I'll show you what is the length of the rope that I have got. See, this is exactly 7 inches that I have got 7-inch rope now, and a few more beads to be added. So this is not significantly going to change the length, so it will be approximately 7 inches and a few, you know, 1 or 2 rows more than that. So since I had stopped there and I had put on a pin, I'm going to take out that pin and complete working the rest of the beads to end this rope. So crochet the few more beads that are remaining, and then I'll show you how to join this in an invisible join to make it into a perfect bangle. And now, since I know that I've already got a 7-inch rope, I'm not going to extend it and use the next repeat that I had marked off. I'm going to stop crocheting here because I have got a 7-inch rope. And the last bead there, so just take off that pink thread and then crochet that bead also. So the last bead, I have crocheted the last bead now. This is the end of the repetition also. And you see, this was the next set of 23 beads, but I am not using them because I don't need them and I've got the length I wanted. So when you have finished crocheting the last bead, you just have to cut the thread and just slip the thread out like that, and now thread it onto a needle. Now watch carefully the arrangement of the beads. See, from where we have stopped crocheting, you can see right below that you can see a bead which is in the sleeping position, and all the beads before that. See, the bead after that you see are all in a standing position. So there are about 6 beads all in a standing position. Okay, so these 6 beads which are in a standing position have to lie flat in order to make the join. So the first step is to take your needle and thread, and you have to come out of this bead which is the last bead that is lying flat. So insert your needle inside the bead work like this, not inside the beads but inside the thread work, and then bring your needle from out of the flat bead, that's the last flat bead. Okay, so you're bringing the thread out of the bead or through the bead, you can say. And now we are ready to join both the ends together. So here you see the thread bridges that I'm pointing out are very important. So this is the first, and you can see all the 6 beads that are there. So the thread bridge that I'm pointing out are very important. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5 and 6. So these 6 thread bridges are important because we are going to be using them to join. So bring your needle and pass it from the right to the left like this. Try to hold both your pieces together in your left hand and insert your needle in the standing bead. See, to the left of the first standing bead. And when you do that and pull it, you can see the bead which was in a standing position now becomes flat. The next step is to pass your needle from the right to the left in the bottom part or the beginning part of the rope. Then pass your needle. See, that's a flat bead. Pass your needle to the left of the standing bead like this and give it a pull, and you can see the bead which was in a standing position now lies flat. Now again pass your needle from the right to the left in the starting of the rope, and again pass your needle to the left of the bead that's in a standing position and give it a slight pull, and the bead will become flat now. So just twist your bangle a little bit to make it easy for you to work. Pass your needle again under the next thread bridge here and under the left side of the standing bead. Very carefully, only under the bead, but I think I just passed it through the fibers of the bead, the thread, but that's not to be done. Again the same movements until we finish all the 6 beads. Okay, see, there is the last one. Pass it under the last bridge like this, and the other bead you can see is a little bit hidden inside, and pass your needle to the left of that last standing bead. Pass it under the bead, pass it under the thread and when you do that, we have passed it through all the 6 beads, and all the 6 beads are lying flat now. See, there may be a little distortion at this time, but as we just wriggle the bracelet a little bit, it will become better. Now the last step is to do this movement, same movement, past the 6th bead, because it will give a little more strength to your bracelet. And after passing from the left to the right, also make a pass up like this. Just under the bead above and give it a little pull. So this makes it a little more tighter fit, so that you could even consider doing this. So after you've done this, there might be it might appear that the beads are not sitting in the proper position. See, but when you give it a little twist like this, they will all settle well. And after a few more after you wear your bracelet a few more times, the thread will ease and you will get a perfect finish there. So that's it, we have made an invisible join. So yeah, you will have to wiggle your beads wiggle your beads a little bit, to give it a little ease and to help it to set and give a clean look. And once you have done that, we just have to finish off this thread. To finish your thread, we have to pass the thread through the fibers of the rope, not into any of the beads. Just pass your thread in a zigzag way, up and down or left to right or right to left, inside the thread work only, not inside the beads. And when you have done it like a couple of times, you will be ready to cut off the thread. So you can already see that the joins are all set well, and you cannot tell the difference where you made the join. And when you're happy with the work, now we can cut off this tail thread or the remaining thread, and with this we complete the invisible joining. So just give it a little ease and pull here and there for it to set clearly. So once you do this, your invisible join is completely really invisible, and you won't know where you made the join. And let us measure the outer circumference of this bangle. See, when you measure it outside, let us see how many inches is the circumference of the outside of the bangle. So it is about, say, 8.5 is the circumference of the outside of the bangle. Okay, but when you wear it, you have to be bothered about the inside of the bangle. So when you need 8.5 inches of circumference bangle, then your outer circumference should be at least 9 inches. See, because the crochet rope is thicker, so the inner circumference will be lesser while compared to the outer. So if your outer circumference is about 9 inches, then your inner circumference will be 8.5 inches. 8.5 or even a little bit big, maybe bigger than that. And see, the diameter is about 2 inches. See, my wrist is 7 inch, but this bracelet is a little small for me. So I think 8-inch crochet rope turned into a bangle would have fit me perfectly. So thank you so much for watching, and please do leave your comments if any.